For the next step, we're gonna come through and we actually need to cut down to this line. Now for this, we're not gonna use our normal tenon saws. So these are the tenon saws. We're gonna come through and we're gonna use the dovetail saw. Now you notice the dovetail saws are quite small in comparison. Now the great thing about the dovetail saw is, number one, is that it's got a very thin blade, which means it's gonna be more accurate when cutting. Number two is it's got finer teeth, which means you're gonna remove less material when cutting, but it's gonna be more accurate because you're gonna be moving at a slower rate. Some negatives with the dovetail saws is that, number one, they're harder to sharpen. So that's why we save them for jobs like this. We're not just always using dovetail things because they're much more expensive to sharpen. Number two, because this is thinner, it bends easier. And if you're in there and reef it to the side, or if you're hitting things, it's gonna damage it. And they're actually very expensive. So we wanna take time and care. Now when sawing, remember we use the gun technique, 3 fingers through, one like this, so like pew, pew, pew. And then the thumb wraps around here. By doing that, you're gonna ensure that you have a nice straight cut instead of being on a wobble. Now when we're cutting, we're not racing. Now the harder thing for me here is that, of course, I'm using texture, which means it's very thick. And if I've checked mine, if I cut on the outside of those lines, I should be right. For you, you should be able to cut right on just the inside of that line. So I'm gonna come through. When I start a cut, I put my thumb down and I bring it back 1, 2, 3. And I always do that, always come back 3 times. And the reason for that is because it allows you to start the track without it going everywhere. Then you're gonna start on that angle and slowly bring it down till it's flat and cut the whole way through. Now when you're sawing, take your time. You're not in a hurry, you're not in a rush. Come all the way down, making sure that you're cutting flat on both sides. It's always worthwhile stopping and having a bit of a look. And if you can see me, I don't know if you can, but I'm really getting down and having a close look to see how far I'm cutting. So I don't want to cut too far. I want it to be just to that line that we marked out using that marking gauge. So that one's right there. We're then going to continue that for the other 2 sections. We'll come through and do another cut on this side here. And then I'm going to get you to cut 2 extra lines in this here, or we'll go 3. 1, 2, and 3. So you're going to have cut 5 lines. Remember, for each line, take your time and do not go past this section here. You need to have cut these 2 outside lines and 2 more lines. So I'm going to cut 1 through there and through there, because that way, when we're chipping it out, we're gonna have less chance of breaking out huge overlarge pieces, which could damage the project in the long run. I'll see you in the next video.